Thank you, viewers. Thank you for subscribing to Global Institute for Policy, Science, Technology, and Education TV, in short, GIPSTE TV. Today, we will be talking about abstract, how to write a very good abstract. One would say, what is an abstract? One is likely to know more about what an abstract entails. An abstract is a short summary of your research project, okay, which could either be the abstract for your dissertation, for your thesis, for maybe a research article that you want to publish. Usually, an abstract may contain about 150 to 300 words long. Specifically, some journals will tell you specifically that the abstract should contain words not more than 250 words. And in some institutions, for dissertation and even thesis, the abstract should not be more than 300 or 350 words, depending on the university that you find yourself. You should write it at the very end of your research project, being it a dissertation, being it a thesis, or an article that you want to publish. Don't rush the abstract from the beginning, no. Okay, though the abstract will be placed at the beginning of the entire document, but you must write it at the end of your research because it's a summary, it's an executive summary of the entire study. All right, it's very brief, not wordy, and it needs to stay in a very precise and short format. When you have completed the rest of the dissertation, then one wants to see the abstract. Abstract is very, very important because it is the first element that every reader will be reading from your entire project. Although the abstract is very short, but remember that is the first part of your research, the first part of your article, the first part of your dissertation. So after your title, the next element that readers want to see is the abstract, is the summary, executive summary of the entire project. And sometimes it's the only part of the project or the research or the article or the dissertation or the thesis that people will read. Some may not have time to go through the entire study. And even if they are trying to look for relevant information to support their study, they don't have time to go through the entire study. But they use the abstract as the filter for them to know whether your study is relevant to their main research. Okay, so the abstract serves as the first for researchers to look into your study, and it serves as the inclusion and exclusion element in every research. So make sure your abstract contains the key elements, okay, that is reflected in the topic and reflected in the purpose of the study. All right. So it is important that you get it right because it is the first element that readers will read from your entire research project. Take note of that. So if you need to get it right, how can you get it right? All right. I came out with a mathematical equation or model that can help students and readers to understand and also come out with a very good research abstract. The first component is that the abstract should contain purpose. In some universities or institutions, they rather talk about or expect students to write the aim of the study instead of the purpose of the study. All right. So it doesn't matter. What matters is that it must begin with the purpose or the aim of the study. Okay. The second element is the summary of the methodology, the entire method. All right. The material, the method and material that you utilize for the study. You utilize to operationalize the problem and the research question. So we need to see the summary of only the method section and all the techniques that you utilize to analyze the research question and the hypothesis. Then the next element is findings. You are not supposed to present all the findings, no. But some selected key findings That speaks to the topic, that speaks to the problem, that speaks to the solution of the problem. So those are the things that you need to select and also what report in the abstract. The last element sometimes is optional, is the conclusion or maybe some policy recommendation. In many institutions, they require students to report purpose, the summary of the methodology, and that of the findings. But many of the research articles, all right, you need to include some element of a policy recommendation or maybe a conclusion. That is why I put there as optional. All right. But together forms the entire abstract. That is a very good abstract. So a good abstract should contain a purpose, summary of the methodology, some findings, and conclusion. In the abstract, make sure to state the main topic and the aim of your research. That is the purpose. Okay, that is reflected in the first element. And you should describe the method that you use. Okay, that also takes into account the summary of the methodology. Then summarize the main findings or the main results. Some selected key findings. Then state your conclusion, which could either be a policy recommendation or maybe a statement. That will summarize the entire process. Very important to note that. All right, let's look at a very good example of an abstract by using the equation to identify the various components. All right, this is a typical example of a good abstract. And this abstract goes for this particular topic. And the topic is, or the research title, Teaching and Learning Challenges of Teachers in Rural Areas in Ghana. The case study of basic schools teachers in the Kwabri East District of Ghana, specifically in the Ashanti region. All right, with respect to this topic, this is the abstract that we came out with. And it reads, this study sought to investigate the conditions under which teachers in rural and deprived areas in Ghana face in their classrooms and the effect they have on teaching and learning. And it continues, it is mainly exploratory using a concurrent mixed method approach in a cross-sectional survey. A sample of 600 teachers, head teachers, and circuit supervisors were selected by using purposive and random sampling techniques. Data were collected using questionnaires, semi-structured interview schedules, and focused group discussion. And it was analyzed using descriptive and inferential statistics. The study identified lack of teaching and learning materials, low people or teacher ratio, inadequacy infrastructure facilities, language barriers, and stress from long ride of both pupils and teachers are challenges that hinder effective teaching and learning in the Kwabri East District. The study concluded that there exists a relationship among the challenges in teaching and learning in Kwabri East District. Hence, solving some key challenges will translate into resolving the challenges in teaching and learning in the rest of the Kwabri East District. This takes into account all the elements, all the 4 elements, 1, 2, 3, 4. If you look at the first part that is highlighted in red speaks to the purpose or the aim of the study, which reads, this study sought to investigate the condition under which teachers in rural and deprived areas in Ghana face in their classrooms and the effect they have on teaching and learning. And if you look at the second part, which is highlighted in green, also speaks to the summary of the methodology. It's very brief and simple. It is merely exploratory, using a concurrent mixed method in a cross-sectional survey. A sample of 600 teachers is clear on the sample, is clear on the method in terms of the design. It is also clear on the data collection technique, the instrument used, and the method used to collect the data. And it's also clear on how the data was analyzed. If you look at the third component, which is highlighted in blue, which speaks into the results or some selected key findings. The study identified lack of teaching and learning materials, low people-teacher ratio, inadequate infrastructure facilities, language barrier, and stress from long ride of both pupils and teachers as challenges that hinder effective teaching and learning in the district. So the test highlighted in blue speaks to the selected finding, that speaks to the title, that speaks to maybe the problem. All right. Okay, the last component about the purpose is the conclusion. The conclusion. The conclusion. In the conclusion, you see that the study concluded that there exists a relationship among the challenges in teaching and learning in the Kwabri East District. Hence, solving some key challenges will translate into resolving the challenges in teaching and learning in the rest of the Kwabri East District, period. And if you look at the words in the abstract, it is not more than 250 words. It is around 180 words. Okay, that is very simple, very precise, and also bring clarity to the work. So any good researcher, once they read this work, it will either going to inform them whether to include the study in their main research or to exclude it. So the abstract serves as a filter. Okay, that researchers rely on. Thank you very much for subscribing to GIPSTE. This is the end of the video. I will see you all in the next video. Thank you.